We will get ourselves around the Premier League now and have a look at a few other bits and bobs. And we'll return to the Villa and PSR thing because it's as good a place as any to start, and it's what got us hopeful that they might ever part with someone like Rodgers. So what's the latest there with them and what they need to do? Because I've been told they need to make at least one big sale.
Yeah, absolutely. That 30th of June deadlines, they got to make a sale to meet the PSR requirements. And there's a lot of journalists suggesting that with transfer window 1 opening up on the 1st of June, they'll look to go early because they've got signings they want to make at the same time, haven't they? And they've got plans. We don't know if they'll be in the Champions League. Now, I'm trying not to get too hopeful on this because the manifestation then is, yes, Morgan Rodgers could be on the market and they could need to sacrifice. That's the one. We're all in for that. All in. Maybe just temper that a little bit because the 3 names that are coming up are Leon Bailey, a lot of Saudi clubs interested. Emi Martinez, a lot of Saudi clubs interested as well. Quite not old in goalkeeper terms, but I think he's like 32, isn't he? Not young as well. So that's the option. And I'm probably pronouncing this name wrong. I think there's a player called Baranchea who's done very well for them on loan at Valencia. So that's their first port of calls, the ports in the storm to sell, aren't they, in that regard? So I'm trying not to get too high on that. All I'm kind of hoping is that may fall through or that might not come to fruition. So Morgan could be on the docket. But even the other one that people are talking about, especially a lot of the Villa journalists, Boubacar Kamara has not signed that new contract, has he? He's waiting to see about Champions League and what happens as well, with a couple of years left to go. So I'm almost sad when I say this. I'm desperate to hear Morgan Rodgers, Liverpool. I'm trying to manifest it. And Villa PSR is like, come on, this is stepping into it. So it is possible, but the news tends to be there'll be far more others put to the sword before him.
Yeah, I'd keep an eye on that Martinez one. I think that's got real legs. Arsenal are up next. Arsenal, once dubbed specialists in failure by Mr. Jose Mourinho, living up to that particular billing in recent weeks and now having to give us a guard of honor at the weekend. I was saying on Twitter today, it'll even be funny if we lose because they won't even be able to celebrate it in any way, shape or form, although some of them are probably desperate enough that they would. One way or the other, we've been told by their manager, who's proven himself to be such an odd set of lads, that they need lots and lots of work because, not only have they had decimation via injuries, but, all of their fans, all of their players, it seems, are in this sort of lamenting the misfortune that they've had to undergo. So we are quite aware, and there seems to be big rumors that there's going to be quite a bit going on. Some people trying to say that his job was in danger. I don't think that's the case at all. I think he's going to get back big time. One of the ones I saw linked to Arsenal during the week was Gyokeres. It kind of pains me that he isn't being linked to Liverpool every week because of all of those strikers that we're being linked to. I understand the level he plays at. You don't have to shout at me. But God, he bangs in goals, man. I don't understand why we aren't a constant link to him as well. But talk to us about Arsenal, the likelihood of them going big again this summer, and who might be involved.
Yeah, all the info we're getting is, and maybe it's not sad because he's just funny, and obviously he's telling everyone they're the best team in Europe, aren't they? So maybe that will encourage players as well. But yeah, all the info seems to be they're set to back him and back him big. In terms of a goalkeeper, I think it's pronounced Juan Garcia coming in, or their favourites from him, I think it's Espanyol. In the mix for a player we've mentioned before as well, Bino Gittins on the left wing, that actually are looking for a left winger. We talked about Nico Williams before, but they are speaking to Dortmund about him. On the screen, as you mentioned, this feels like one that Ornstein's mentioned it. Many journalists have mentioned it. It's coming up again. Arsenal seem right there for Victor Gyokeres, don't they? I think most people expect him to end up there. as the striker that they're desperately seeking. But maybe the most interesting one for me of this transfer show was getting this bit of information above all others, Trev. That it's not just Gyokeres they're looking at. Arsenal are also, to supplement Gyokeres, this is important to say, not instead of, speaking to Ipswich's Liam Delap. That Arsenal are now in the mix for that, as in terms of they want a couple of strikers. Yes, Gyokeres is the main target, but Arsenal are now in the mix for 30 million release clause, Liam Delap as well. So all the info we're getting, like you said, I know a lot of people are going on, they might dismiss him. That's all those types of things. All the info we're getting is they're going to back him, and they're going to back him big again.
I mean, just a tremendous way to be living your life if you're Lego head, just kind of constantly failing upwards. Remarkable stuff. Just put out the hand and get handed the bag again. Off we go to another cry. Remarkable stuff. We'll see. And yes, whoever it was in the chat there, I didn't mean it literally be funny. I want to kick the living shit out of them at the weekend for what it's worth, because of the disrespect that I've perceived from people at the club about Liverpool's achievement, mainly their manager. But that's a whole different story, and we don't have time to get sidetracked by it at the moment. Brian Mbeumo is someone who was very regularly linked with moves away to Liverpool as much as anywhere else, but someone else seems to have gone into the driver's seat for him, and then we might move sideways to Chelsea. And we all saw the weird Nkunku to Liverpool story that broke, I think, in between this show and the last one too. So talk to us about Mr. Mbeumo first of all, and then move sideways to Chelsea and what's going on there, or maybe going on there.
Yeah, I think as it's on the screen, Brentford's captain said he's likely to leave in the summer. I don't think that's any surprise. He said at the start of the season he wants to move to a bigger club. Brian Mbeumo, he's had a good season, hasn't he? And the two in the mix, I don't know if the names will be surprising to people. Newcastle, very much interested in him. And Manchester United having a good look at Brian Mbeumo as well. Quite a few reports on that one. Manchester United, who it seems to be, these are the two names, isn't it? Brian Mbeumo and Matthias Cunha. Whether they're going to have the money, whether they're going to have that Champions League money to do them both. But those seem to be the names. A full expectation that Mbeumo moves to, not being disrespectful to Brentford, but a club at the next level. It just makes sense the way he's doing this season. And then, as you said, I mean, Chelsea, Sweeney Todd's not really ramped up yet. I'm hoping we're going to see a bit more for him anytime soon. But the stories, as we said, Nkunku 100% looking to leave. That's well known. He's expected to move on. But Moises Caicedo using Saudi interest very well to try and negotiate himself an even fatter new contract with Chelsea, because he's only got about 7 years left to go. So you've got to be careful on these types of things as well. And people actually believe the reports that said he chose Chelsea over Liverpool and they only offered him 125 grand. Like, if you were silly enough to fall for that, come on. But Moises Caicedo will probably sign an extension. God knows what Chelsea will put him up to, 11 years left to go or something like that. But we'll see what that brings.
That's freaking hilarious. And listen, watch this space. No way Sweeney doesn't go pure mental between now and the opportunity to move. It's going to happen. It always does. We'll finish with City because City are, regardless of what way you look at it, there's a sort of an overhaul going to have to happen there. Yes, they can welcome back probably their best and most effective players from injury for next campaign, but there's going to be movement there, you'd imagine. What are we hearing there in terms of any of the links that may be believable or have something behind them?
Yeah, we said was it 3 weeks ago or so, we said they're having a serious look at Gibbs White at Nottingham Forest and Florian Wirtz at Leverkusen. And one of those names pretty much got extinguished on the European part, which we'll come to very shortly, which leaves the other one So you can probably work it out because it's Morgan Gibbs White on the screen, and quite a few suggesting that this is the player Manchester City, as we mentioned, are looking to get. And I'm going to be honest on this. From everything we're hearing, Trev, I almost expect this to happen because Forest are going to miss out on the Champions League now, aren't they? And also, from a stylistic profile and the way he plays, a lot of the analysts are saying Gibbs White is perfect. They're perfect replacement for Kevin De Bruyne in terms of his legs, his pace, everything he's got in a better side as well. So not encouraging it, but I would bet that Morgan Gibbs White ends up at Manchester City this summer.